Alrighty then. Successful indie author presentation. Being a workaholic. Work harder and smarter. So, what's this mean? Let's get down to it. Those who burn brightest have unquenchable fires. You've been at work, and there's been people who just seem to always be on. They're working hard. They're doing everything. They're staying after. They're coming early. They're doing everything. Boss loves them, and nobody else can meet that standard because they're just working all the time, and they get everything done and then some. How do you compete with that? Competition. That's some people that are workaholics. You just cannot compete with them, and don't even try, because it drives them even harder, because they're driven well beyond the norms and not by necessity. That's a fire that comes from within, and it's just how they are. It's probably a little bit of ego driven because they want to be the best, and it's also because they just can't sit still. It might be, maybe they're on the spectrum, maybe they have ADHD, maybe they have some, but they're always getting stuff done. And they're doing a great job at whatever they get done. It's not like they half-ass the stuff. They do 10 projects when other people do one. What does that mean? It means, hey, they're probably a workaholic, which isn't a technical term, but it's one of those that, hey, this person always works. I'm not getting any part of that. But does burning bright mean burning out? And you've seen that too. If you have any experience in the workplace, you've seen people who go all out until they just completely crash. They're popping Red Bulls like it's water, and all of a sudden they're done. How do you deal with that? You stay away from that, because these persons have raging ups and then raging downs, and generally they'll move on because they've got to find something to give them that up again. It's almost like an addiction. Can you relate? Especially if you've been in the job market, in the job place for a while, the workplace. The value of a promotion, no matter where you are, it's going to be pyramidal. You might have 10 people and only one can be promoted up to the next level, and then beyond that. And so there's always competition for higher and higher responsibilities, higher pay, better jobs, better working conditions. You have to be number one in your position in order to get that. Have you been denied a promotion because you were too important in this job? Well, I'm too important in this job, but I'm doing his job too, so I might as well just do both jobs. You can promote me, and I'll do my old job as well as a new job, and I'll make twice the money. That's a workaholic's justification. What about getting selected for choice assignments? I was in the military. Hard workers, those people who came early, stayed late, did everything, worked weekends, they got the choice assignments. I got one. It was an incredible assignment. I got to go with the Commander-in-Chief Central Command and be his intelligence officer for a combat operation. I was a captain at the time. A captain. That's a general's billet. Man, look at that. Because I was always on. I was always there. I was doing a great job. I did all the jobs. And that's what they needed. So, feather in my cap. Yes, I got a really big medal out of it. Did a good job. And no, we never did go to war. But did that validate what I was doing? Absolutely it did. I need to do more of this. I need to compete. I need to be number one. So hard to do. Making more money. Yes, I got promoted. I got promoted 2 years below the zone to major, which is a huge deal because now I make more money, more prestige in a position that's higher, more responsibility, better assignments. I got my job to Moscow, 2 years in the embassy in Moscow out of that. So good things come to those who are workaholics. It strokes the ego. What would it have been like had I been a normal human? Well, it cost me relationships, a lot of relationships. But also, it's not really a choice. And this is where it comes into being an addiction. Doing nothing is painful. I've gone to Hawaii with my wife on a number of occasions, and I absolutely cannot just sit on the beach and do nothing. Just listen to the waves, go piddle around in the surf, and then go lay, get some sun, put on some suntan lotion, catch some sun. I absolutely can't do that. So my wife will lay on the beach, and I'll be back at the cabana with my computer, jamming some words, doing some other stuff. And hopefully there's no Wi-Fi, because if there's no Wi-Fi, then absolutely I'm jamming words right in that next story, because not finishing something is painful. I have to get this done. I have to go through my to-do list. I have to check boxes. Not being number one is painful. Now, relate this to being an author, and you have to get in the mindset that you are not in competition with other authors. If you get number one overall Amazon, you are number one in the store. What's that mean? It just means you'll be number 2 tomorrow, or number 4, or number 10, because you cannot stay number one for every day of the year. So it's easy enough to reconcile yourself. Hey, I hit number one, and then I made the sales. Life is good, making lots of money. And oh, by the way, I dropped down. I'm number one in my genre. But are you always no? Of course not. The books rotate, and that is a good reality check for workaholics. Yes, I like having a book up there. I like having a number of books up there in the top 100 of my genre. However, you cannot keep all of them there. That would take an incredible amount of money in advertising and marketing, and you would be losing money. Yes, ego stroke, but I'm losing money. Now, we're not in this to lose money. So that's where you reconcile yourself with good enough. Yes, I'm getting the books done. I'm getting great reviews. The books are reaching a high level before they drop down, and you have to accept that. The internal strife of not getting something done or not working when you could be just sitting there and doing nothing, like sitting on the beach, which is just, it's grating on my very soul. It's an ADHD superpower, that internal strife to accomplish, to do something, to work on something else, to be excited by things. And then when you start working something, it's not half-assed. You're going all in whenever you dive into something. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right. So workaholics are just built differently. Are you one of those? Maybe, maybe not. But results oriented, you have to get it done. You have to be there. Are you all over the place? People say, well, that's ADHD too. They're a mile wide and an inch deep. I think some ADHD, it's about getting it done. Workaholics, are they all? No, I'm not going to categorize them. I'm not a psychologist. But I understand the feeling. I've had that feeling. I've had that drive. And look at me, 10 years in of writing, and still writing every day. I wrote this morning already. It's 6 a.m. here, and I already wrote this morning. Results oriented. Got to get that book done. Got to get that next book done. Got to get that next book done. And I have books now. Then I need to update one this morning, get another pre-order up there, and keep rocking the free world, because that's what I do. I publish books. Can you relate? Especially, and this comes back to being an author. I can do that. People ask you, hey, can you write a short story for this anthology? Sure. Can you do this? Hey, I'd like to have you on board as your publisher. Here's the terms, and the terms are good. And you're like, yeah, I can do that. What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to do all the marketing. I've got this list. It fits exactly with what you write. You're going to make lots of money. Life is good. And you don't have to do anything there. You can focus on your own backlist. Great. Yeah, I can do that. You say yes. You say yes a lot more than no. And that's a problem, because now you're building up more and more stuff, and you have to do stuff. You can't ever take a time down. What about training others? But what if I can get somebody to do my newsletter? No, it's easier to do it myself. Training people, that takes forever. You're powered by purpose. I have to get this done. I'm the best person to do this. Why would I have anybody else write my newsletter? I'm the one who's communicating with my readers. Why would I have somebody do my social media? I'm the one who's communicating with my readers. You have a lot of tasks on your plate. You have a priority listing, maybe 1 to 10, maybe 1 to 100, and you switch rapidly between those tasks. You can only do one thing at a time, but you can do a lot of things in a short amount of time if you're focused. And when you pull up a task and say, I need to do this, you knock it out and you do it, and then you move on. I had an empty box behind me. Oh, there's Stanley. I had an empty box behind me with books, my last box of original first edition Craig Martelle titles that I'm shipping off to my son in Australia. behind me for a month. But now as I'm getting close to leaving here, just traveling temporarily, I'll be back. I need to get that done. So I packed the box. That took like 5 minutes. I took 2 days, and then I finally did I did the postage on it and address. There we go. Got that done, and then dropped it off yesterday. Each one of those things only took like 5 minutes or a minute. That's it. And then I got it done. But they were on the list. It's like, okay, as I'm wrapping things up before I depart for a little bit, taking care of business, checking things off the to-do list. This is where you've got to set limits. Even as a workaholic, set limits. Stop with the superhuman deadlines. Yes, I can get that done by next week. People ask me for a short story. I'm like, I can get that done in 2 days. Yes, 2 days, but how much time are you going to have to devote to that and put other things aside, move them down on the priority list? I hate moving stuff to the back burner, especially if it's already made it to the front burner. Don't put it on the back burner. Keep at it until it's done. So stop with superhuman deadlines. Give me a few months. Let me add it. I'll definitely get to it before then because there will be a little lull in what I'm doing. And sometimes the right answer is no. No, I can't do that. No, I'm not going to write a new series for you as a publisher. You're looking great. You're getting the books in people's hands, but I just don't have the bandwidth for a whole new series because I need to finish up this last series. I'm doing some other things. So, and then schedule your hobby time. Have your hobbies dropped off? My hobbies are almost non-existent. I have Stanley, and otherwise not a whole lot. Sure, I watch some TV, but I'm always doing something. Don't let your hobbies disappear. Do something as a hobby that's just for you that you don't have, that you're not going to monetize because now it becomes a job, not a hobby. And do it, enjoy it. Maybe build a model. Okay, it takes concentration, it takes effort, but you don't have to monetize everything you do every minute of your day. And I haven't gotten past that yet. I'm still monetizing everything I do. So that's why I don't have any hobbies, because I don't want to do something where I'm not monetizing. Who the hell would do that? Yeah, a normal person would do that. That's who. Doing almost nothing is doing something. I do need to clear my mind. Yesterday, I did spend a lot of time watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I'm almost done with it. I want to finish it before I leave on Monday. So I got 3 days to finish the last, it's like 8 episodes is all. So I can get there. I don't need to power watch it for 14 hours a day. I'll be fine. And then I'll get other things done too. So playing the long game, sometimes you need to let your mind relax because I'm trying to do everything to get everything done. So my wife has it easy while I'm gone because I do a lot of stuff like grocery shopping, getting Stanley's food ready. Okay. What are you doing? The fruits of your labors, how are they coming in to help what's going on in the future as opposed to right now, let me get all of these tasks done that are monetized and getting where I need to go? Well, you need to take that time as well for your family. Make sure you work it in. Make sure you have a hobby. And if you've got kids, make sure your hobby includes your kids. And it might be soccer. Hey, well, then don't coach because we don't work well. Workaholics don't work well as coaches. But you can referee. So referee, maybe run the snack bar. Do some things that benefit the kids without trying to coach them. Don't do that. I strongly encourage you or discourage you from doing that. So when is enough enough? When your body starts to fail. I've already had heart issues. I've had heart surgery. I have bad lungs, but that was something completely different. But my heart issues are completely related to being a workaholic. And then what about when your work starts to suffer? You're no longer the best of the best. Man, I always like to think I was the smartest person in the room. Even though I wasn't, I still like to think that. And all of a sudden I realized, hey, I'm not even close. And how did I deal with that? Well, better. Because it was a relief. I don't have to push. I don't have to be the smartest person. I don't have to read everything. I don't have to know everything. You have the theoretical versus the practical limit. And let's talk about what that means. Here's your production chart. You start at 0. You write a book. Okay, you get some sales, they start to drop off. Oh, hey, second book, you start picking some up. Third book, oh, and then they start dropping off again. What is the theoretical maximum? It's not the most. It's not that highlight on the right that you can see that shows, look at that. Look at how high I reached. That's my new minimum. No, it's not. In order to maximize your revenue, your productivity, all of it, what you need to do is you have to, where are we? Oops. What the heck? I lost my stuff in there. The this in here. Oops. I guess I can't click that. You eliminate the bottom part of it. You eliminate those gaps at the bottom where you bottomed out. So you have your highs. You accept that the highs, like you hit number one in the whole Amazon store, you accept that you're not going to stay there. Well, it drops down. How far does it drop down? Does it drop down all the way down to the start? That's what you need to remove. And that is a lot easier than trying to stay at the top. So you eliminate those, and all of a sudden, your variance from the top to your baseline is a lot less. And then you realize, hey, I'm making a lot of money. I'm appealing to a lot of fans. I'm entertaining the people I need to entertain, and they're ready to buy that next book. So your next high might be even higher in number of sales, in number of reviews, and number of page reads, all of the good things that come with finding an audience and keeping them satisfied. So eliminate the dips, the big dips. So everything below that black line, that's what you want to eliminate. And that's a lot easier to work on than, hey, I hit the top here. How do I get to the top again? Well, you give them the same book that's even better. Okay, hey, same series, new characters, add in some stuff. Man, even better. Just eliminate those dips, and you're going to find that will take care of a lot of woes of, oh my God, I'm failing. You're not failing, especially if your new baseline gets higher and higher with each one as you dig out the bottom of those dips and remove those, because, hey, after I hit the top, I let it glide for a little bit, but then I need to hit it with a new advertising campaign, and then start talking up the next book so I get those pre-orders. Okay, so it doesn't drop as far before it picks up again. That is a good business model. And here's a number of different businesses. How are you doing? Everybody hits that high, then you drop off. Which one is the best one? I suggest it's the one, if you go to the right, it's the second highest one, because you have a high, but the dip is nowhere near as low. Your second high isn't as high as this other one, but that other one, the one that hit the highest at the beginning and hit the highest second time around, had the lowest dip. Who wants that kind of wants that kind of sales in between your high points? No, better off to have that line that hovers up near the top and stays up there, and then incrementally climbs a little bit higher with each new release, maybe a new series. Do away with the bottoms, and you're going to find that, hey, that takes care of business. And then you look, and if you want to compare yourself to other authors who have incredible highs, but also they have to add parts to the graph because they go so low in between releases. No, you're making more than they are. I guarantee it. So competition, you got to do away with the competition mindset and go what works best for you. Eliminate those dips and try to just stay closer to the top. You don't have to always be at the top. That's something, once you get your head wrapped around it, it's freeing and allows you to do all of your checklist items and get you to where you're in a pretty good place. So what is the value of your time? I calculate my time at $250 an hour. As a lawyer, that's what I was able to charge. That's what I got. Life was pretty good. Yes, some of that went to taxes and other people and stuff. But $250 an hour. I used to work 16 hours a day, pretty much every day. And now that's, what does that come out to? 4,000 a day. But what if I did $500 an hour, but only worked 8 hours a day? Well, as a workaholic, you say, well, 8,000 is 8,000. However, or 4,000 is 4,000. However, I now have 8 hours free that I can monetize, and I'll do this extra 8 hours at $250, make an extra 2,000. So now I'm up to $6,000 a day. That's what I can make. Now, you see 16 hours of work, 16 hours of, and that's where you need to get away from that mindset of 16 hours is 16 hours of work at X amount of dollars per hour. This is what I should be making every single day. It doesn't work that way. Work smarter, not harder. Pareto was a genius. So find the 20% of your time that delivers 80% of the value. This is this 8 hours at $500 an hour. If you're going to spend an additional 8 hours working, don't do it at $250 an hour. Do it to find what's going to make me $1,000 an hour. So only take a little chunk, 4 hours, give 4 hours back to your family, and find, hey, where's that next opportunity? Because as workaholics, we're always looking for opportunities, but we have a tendency to get so fixated on working harder and harder that sometimes it's hard to work smarter. Let's work 8 hours at $500 an hour and then 4 hours at $1,000 an hour, and we're going to be pretty good. And then in 12 hours, hey, we can get some good sleep. We can do some other things. Also, workaholics tend to not sleep a whole lot just because there's always something on our mind and you just can't sleep. Understand that what got you here won't get you there. Oop, got a typo. Won't keep you. What got you here won't keep you here, but it won't get you there, wherever there is, in this better place. Workaholics are always looking for getting to that better place. So what you did to get here, that's at 16 hours at $250 an hour. That's not going to get you where you want to go, which is higher and higher. Because 16 hours, hard stop. You don't have any more time in your day than that. And that's, you have to understand, I can do 16 hours. But what if you need 20 hours of work? Ooh, that's pushing it. Now I don't get enough sleep. Now my work suffers, and we don't want that. Where will further growth come from? Smarter, not harder. And that's where you got to get those that 16-hour workday down to 8 hours, and then give yourself a chunk of time to explore opportunities to ratchet it up and make more, be more than what you are now. Because that's the only place where further growth is going to come from. Maximizing what's working for you now, and then finding that new opportunity. It's not working harder and harder until you're working 20 hours a day. You're working every day. I saw this with guys up on the slope, the North Slope of Alaska, in the oil fields. They'd get home, they'd buy a boat, they'd buy a jet ski, and all of a sudden they had to work 6 weeks straight with 2 weeks off because they had so many bills. Are they workaholics? Kind of. They also understand that they don't want to put themselves into bankruptcy and lose everything that they worked hard for. So where will further growth come from? Working smarter, not harder. And also, important safety tip, don't spend more than you're making. And when you calculate what you're making at that very high point of your earnings, because it's going to come back down. Because all of a sudden you're going to get sick, and now, you can only work 2 weeks out of a month instead of 4 weeks. And what are you going to do with all those bills as they're piling up? So don't outpace. And that's one thing that I did well as a workaholic, was I never spent more than what I was currently making, as opposed to the high point of, hey, I'm working here, so I'm going to make all of this money. Let me buy all of this stuff. No, don't do that. As a workaholic, what's the summary? What is that which you need to do? Have a hobby or 3 and go all in on them. Enjoy your hobbies. Do not monetize your hobbies, because this is a danger zone, because now it's more work and not a hobby. Find something that feeds your soul besides work. Maybe this is charity work. Maybe it's volunteer work. Yes. When workaholics volunteer for something, they have a tendency to get abused by the management, because this person comes in and they're working all out. Look at them go. Look at all the stuff they're doing. Hey, you could be in charge, as well as doing all this other stuff. And all of a sudden you find yourself that, hey, now my 2-hour a week gig is 16 hours, and it's not enough, because there's so much that needs done. And that's where you really, really have to resist doing that. So volunteer, yes, to feed your soul, but put that hard stop on it. Sometimes you say, no, I'm just going to work the food line here at the soup kitchen, And that's all I'm going to do, 2 hours a week. Thank you. That's good. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to feed people. I'm going to do what I need to do to help myself. And that feels good when you're helping others within a limit that you set. Define what you want from your future. This is your goal setting for your life. Sometimes when you're younger, that goal is the sky. But as you get older and your time becomes more limited, then you have to get your focus correct on what you want to get out of life and do that. And that out of life, are you going to work 16 hours a day every day, 365 days a year for your whole life? What are you going to do when you retire? Can you retire? You have to set yourself up with an exit strategy to retire. So you aren't doing, maybe retirement is 8 hours a day. I've already retired twice. I'm a retirement failure. Invest in your future now. So instead of spending all of that money you're making as you're reaching those new peaks, invest. Buy stocks, buy mutual funds, do something. Dollar cost average works great. Put away $500 a month, $50 a month. I started with 50 a long time ago. 40 years ago, I started with $50 a month investing in mutual funds, and those are worth a lot now, a lot. So as I invested more, I'm making more passively. Now I don't have to work. So I'm looking at it. Let me write books that I want to write. Let me do this stuff, help other authors. But I really have removed a lot of the pressure on myself by saying no to a lot of things. I'm not running conferences, big conferences anymore, because those are too stressful. Small conferences are easy. I can manage that, and that actually feeds my soul. That's almost like working the soup kitchen, but here I'm doing it for authors. So help yourselves. And then you have to answer the question, when is enough enough? When is enough enough? All right, there it is, being a workaholic. And now this is my very last presentation that I'm doing from the ones I have ready. Ask me anything. We've got a question from Zeph. Always has a question. Thanks for listening in. How do I price my new books, which will be longer, and I want to maximize profits? From what I've seen of your previous books, you haven't realized a great deal of success yet, and it takes success to build more success. I would start it at, it depends on the length. What will the market bear? So what are books that length of that genre earning, and not from the top authors, from second tier, third tier level authors who don't have 1,000 reviews on their books yet, who only have 10, 20. What are they pricing their books at? How are they getting them into people's hands? An unknown author, you might have a hard time getting a higher price. Me, I have books at $3.99, but they're the first book in a series. I'll put at $3.99, and then the next books, I have first book in my New Mill Sci-Fi series is only $2.99, but the next book is $5.99. But then again, I've sold 1 million books. I have 70,000, 80,000 reviews on Amazon. I'm well established, so I can get $5.99 for a book with no hiccups. But it still takes getting that first book in the right reader's hands, so I do that at a discount, because I want them to try it and make sure that they like me, because then they like my style, because then they leave better reviews as they read on. Let me do this one. All right. When I start a new series, Boris has a question, put it up on the screen there. When I start a new series, I generally get at least 3 covers, because I want to have that second book on pre-order when the first one hits. But also keep in mind, I'm different. I have 25, 26 different series. So I'm fairly well established. I know I'm going to sell a certain amount of books within that series regardless. I know that first book will be received pretty well. Now, will it be gangbusters? I don't know. That's the dice roll when you throw out when you start a new series. But even before I was well established, I would get at least 3 covers and have the second book on pre-order for when the first one published, in order to then try to drive that first one into the right reader's hands and see how well it was going to be received. But I invest a minimum amount on that first book before the second book hits, before the third book hits, just to gauge how well it will do. And my last book, I think I sold over 1,000 copies. I think it was close to 1,100 copies in the first month that it was out. So call that a success because it continues to sell. I'm selling 10 to 15 books a day. I mean, it's not a huge number, but also I bumped the price up from $99 to $2.99. You sell 10 to 15 books a day. What is that? $30, $45 of revenue a day on that book. And then purchases of the second, third book. Hey, it all adds up and it builds up pretty darn fast. So that one, I bought 9 covers out of the gate for that series because I was pretty sure that was going to resonate quite well based on my pre-readers. What are your pre-readers saying? If you don't have any, well, find somebody to read that book who reads your genre and find out what they think. Let's see what we've got. How much of lead in to get ARCs out would you advise for a first timer? As a first timer, I would not do ARCs. I don't do ARCs now as a well-established author. Advanced reader copy, I'm morally opposed to the whole process, which was built by a traditional publishing house to build buzz for their books before they came out. And the instant they came out, here's 1,000 reviews on this book. Oh, everybody loves it. Well, they love it so they can get the next book. Maybe they love it because they love the book and it's good, but there's those hidden behind the scene incentives, which aren't allowed if you're on Amazon doing an ARC. But if you give a bad review as an ARC, that author is probably going to remove you from the ARC team. So that is an incentive to give a good review. So you can get the next one. Hey, this book was pretty good. But instead of giving it 4 stars, I'm giving it 5. So I am morally opposed to the whole ARC process. I want people to buy books and then leave a review based on that purchase. So needless to say, my reviews are less than people who do ARCs. As a first timer, how are you going to find your ARC readers? Where are you going to find them? I would not recommend using NetGalley or BookBaby or any of those services. I would recommend just getting the book out there, advertise with a minimum amount, and get it in the right reader's hands, and then see what the readers, the people who paid for that pleasure of that first book, see what they see. My cover designer is late. Yeah. Don't do ARCs. That's what I would suggest. As a first timer, I would do readers, just find readers from fellow authors of your genre. Get with them and say, hey, do you have any readers who can take a look at this book, see if it's okay, give me some feedback, and get that. But don't make them ARCs. Don't require them to leave reviews. You really just want feedback. Is this book going to be good enough? And if it is, well, then you can use some of their comments. If they say, hey, I really enjoyed this book. It took me to places I didn't know that I wanted to go. Great. Let's encapsulate that and let's use that in ads and then move forward. But as a first timer, I wouldn't get wrapped around the axle with ARCs. And your cover designer is late. Yeah. Welcome to the publishing world. That's dealing with that this week. So I had to go with a different cover designer, and but now I have covers. Life is good again. Still, I'm doing okay, so I have the money to spend to change cover designers midstream. I'm not so invested in one that I can't get there from here. But what do? I wouldn't do ARCs. I wouldn't strap myself in and just get feedback from readers of that genre in order to improve the book. Because ARCs, if everybody hates it, well, then you're going to publish it and you're going to get a bunch of 2 and 3 star reviews. Hey, I got the book for free and it still sucked. I hated it. Well, how's that going to affect your business as opposed to just getting good feedback and saying, let me hold off on publishing this while I correct these issues, while I correct these inconsistencies. And you're going to find that you're going to have a much, much better long-term gain from that book than the short-term game of, hey, here's a bunch of reviews when I first published. As a new author, I wouldn't recommend that. I recommend getting good feedback and writing a better book. All right, there we are. Thank you all for listening in. And for those who are watching the recorded version, thank you. Appreciate it. This is the last of the presentations that I'm doing. And I hope you got something out of them. I tried to keep them short, even though I raw dogged it. Just me talking to you with a bunch of slides and delivering, hopefully, content that matters to you guys. Enjoy. Peace, fellow Emmas.